My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job.
Government officials insist that this...
That BNC Live has been following from the beginning. A father continues his mission to find out what happened to his son.
Daniel Robinson vanished in the Buckeye Desert.
Daniel Robinson went missing in the Buckeye Desert.
Urgent plea from a father who has scoured the vast Arizona desert himself.
4-year-old Daniel Robinson, and this is a very, very odd mystery.
Daniel Robinson disappeared on June 23rd in the far West Valley.
His parents, David and Melissa, need our help.
I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson.
His name, Daniel Robinson. And leading the search, not law enforcement, but Daniel's father, David.
God knows how much we can bear, you know? And at times I feel like I can't really take but so much.
Where is Daniel Robinson?
And, identify, they were human leg bones.
But you know what, it's still urgent to me as a father because, you know, we found human remains out here.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. I also want to thank the volunteers that come out here every weekend, volunteering their time. And, you know, without these special people behind me, I wouldn't have a search.
How does a young man vanish off the face of the earth? How does that happen? no record, no sightings, nothing. He's just gone. And when I say a young man, I'm talking about 25-year-old Daniel Robinson. He is the apple of his parents' eye. A young geologist, music lover, good-looking, great grades, the works. So why can't we find Daniel? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. And his dad, David Robinson, is using the GoFundMe money to fund his own investigation and the desperate search for his boy, his son, Daniel Robinson, 25 years old. What happened to him? How did he just disappear? David Robinson, sir, thank you so much for being with us. Tell me, when you first realized your son just hadn't called in a couple of days, that he was truly missing.
Yes, my son, on the 23rd, I did get a call from my daughter. She also lives out in Phoenix.
And at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
But in his weakest times, David says it's the volunteers that provide him strength.
You know, everybody knows that I call them my extended family. And so this video is the same thing. We all here have one common goal, and that's to find Daniel and also to bring light. We'll have the other families.
As the Robinsons' extended family light candles tonight, their collective light shines towards that day when their question is answered and Daniel comes home. Josh Sanders, 12 News.
You are my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink, and now I trust your gentle hand, even when I can't understand. I know your voice, I'm not afraid, walking with me at the same pace.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in to this morning's Q&A. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. My son, Daniel, a graduate of the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina, came out to Arizona to start his career out. First thing he did was landed his first job at a company called Matrix New World, also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. My son's job is, he's been hired on as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. His job, what he does is go out to various well sites. He gets assignments all over this Arizona, state of Arizona, to go out to these well sites to check the viability of these wells. The wells, by law, for communities have to produce at least 100 years of water. His job is, like I said, check the viability of that, as well as get the rock sediments to be tested from the bottom of those wells. Again, on June the 23rd, my son last year was going out to one of those well sites, well, two of those well sites. He got 2 assignments that morning. He went to the first well site roughly around 7 that morning. Second well site, he made it there, talked to one of the workers there from a company called Weber. According to that worker, he says my son had been there from 9 o'clock to roughly 9:15. They had a short conversation about the weather, and my son waved at him, got in his vehicle, and took him off. But later, you guys know from last week, I did share some of the things I have known for a long while, that my son actually made a phone call to that worker roughly, I think it was at 9:27. And so those things didn't agree with each other, but nevertheless, my son went missing. He'd been missing for since that time. His vehicle showed up almost 30 days later, and it was found by a rancher out there on July the 19th. And that rancher said 2 to 3 days prior to that, he was out there also, chasing down his cattle. and the vehicle wasn't there. So we do know the whole story of that. Those who don't know, that's why I had a Q&A here for you guys to ask that kind of questions. For those who don't know, my son, like I said, vehicle showed up almost 3 miles away from that well site, farther into that desert in a 20-foot ravine almost 30 days later. Everything allegedly on his body was lying on the ground. When I say allegedly, there was no forensic work done to determine if it was indeed my son's clothing that was a couple of feet away from the vehicle. They did recover his wallet, though. They did recover his cell phone as well as some other personal effects, work computer, etc. And so outside of that, according to my investigator that I hired he's an accident reconstructionist, that vehicle wasn't that the damage don't match that terrain. We believe that vehicle was planted there, of course. So you guys know the story about that. I'm just here to answer some of those questions as well. I wanted to prepare some things for some other details I want to release to the public. I'm still working on those things, so it may be coming out this evening on this evening's Q&A, but definitely not this morning. I want to make sure I'm prepared for that. If you guys want to come at this evening, I may be able to do that as well. Go ahead and put that information out. But for right now, my guys, I want you to know that I'm really grateful that you came out here to join me on this Q&A, to be a support. It's very hard. Say again, I'll tell you guys, it's very hard. It's been over a year since my son been missing. I've been doing everything I can to try to find him. I've been doing everything I can to get law enforcement to do more to find my son. Of course, my son's case had been severely damaged by the law enforcement who's in charge. I've been trying to advocate and push his case somewhere else. I'm still working on that, still working behind the scenes to try to get that done. So you guys just bear with that as well. Look forward to some of those things as well. Trying to get my son's case moved on because it need to be. Because like I said, a lot of things need to still be accomplished. I'm still trying to get all the forensics work done. Not some of them, try to get all of it done. And some of those keys is to push a different law enforcement outside agency to handle my son's case so those things can be done. So again, I'm here, Dave Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. If you guys have any questions, this morning I'm going straight to the comment section there, and definitely want to see if you guys have any questions. If you do, put a capital letter Q there, the word question there, or some question marks before you ask your question. That way, when I come down the comment section, I can see them. But I do always start off with thanking everybody for coming out. Sometimes I go down and start naming people, but I'm not be able to get to everybody, but I want to tell you all up front, I'm really grateful. I'm really happy that you're coming out. Some things I do have to point out at the beginning of this Q&A. Again, it's the Day of Remembrance. I cannot forget that. It's a very important day. I don't need to let it slip under the cover, but it'll be September the 10th. If you guys could come out to that September the 10th at 6:30, you guys come out and support. Please you can go to Eventbrite as well as go to the Please Help Find Daniel website and go under the events tab, and they'll take you straight to Eventbrite. You can go ahead and RSVP if you want to support the families that come out. If you are a family and you want to be a part of a Day of Remembrance, please email us at pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com, and so we can help you reserve your table, reserve your spot for your tables and things like that, for your flyers. And so you guys definitely need to come out, because if you got a missing loved one, is very, very good resource for you, as well as you can meet other families. And like I said, use the platform to get your family's word out there about your family member. Because my desire is to help other families not to go through exactly what I have been going through since the time me and my family has been going through since the time I came out here to Arizona to search for Daniel. Like I said, being on the ground is a lot harder than you think. Just being out here trying to do everything you can is harder than you think. A lot of family, thousands of family every year, do not have answers to what happened to their loved one. Not saying that they didn't try, but sometimes I know the reasons why it can make you want to quit. So you guys had to keep pushing. You had to keep pushing. I had met a young lady named Sherry who'd been on this Q&A, for instance, and she was talking about her mother. She'd been doing this for years, young lady. And, some people tolerant level is really high, and her tolerant level is really high. She's been doing this for years. I know what she's going through, and I can imagine her doing a lot longer than I have. Been out there searching for her mother and trying to get those answers, trying to get law enforcement to do a lot more, that kind of stuff. So, it's very tragic to see that, because I'm telling you, it's very hard. you would never know that unless you have a missing loved one. I don't wish that on anyone. I didn't think about that too much. I think a lot of us, we go through our daily lives, a lot of times don't know what's really going on in the country when it comes to things like this. It don't affect you until it affect you sometimes. So, of course, it happened to our family, and so since then it's been very rough. But I'm here this morning. They're here this morning, pushing it through. Not every morning is always good. It's not always good. When I say it's not always good, it's not. I don't always fill up the part because I don't have the capacity or the time to really sit down and reflect on my son being missed. I had to go through a lot of things when I'm doing some preparation and things like that. I have to consciously be reminded all the time that Daniel is actually missing. That I don't see him, I don't hear his voice, that type stuff. So that's what make it hard. That make it really hard. When I have to go through his pictures, decide what pictures I want to release to the public, which I want to keep, things like that. So it's very, very hard to go through that and know your child is a living person, and but you just don't know what happened. So, but definitely come out to this day of remembrance. You guys, you put that on your calendar. If you don't live here, you can, if you can, we would still like you out here. You can plan for it. If you can't be out here, hopefully we can have a live stream of that event. So you guys could, like I said, if you want to support, please, by all means, go to Eventbrite and RSVP and let us know so we can know who all would be there. So we definitely want you to come out to support. Also, for those who have a tip and know what happened just directly, know what happened to Daniel, have those answers, can utilize the tip line. I pay for that service, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Live operators take your call. You can remain anonymous if you like. If you don't care about being anonymous, you can do that as well. But it's like I said, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Very polite people will take your call, and like I said, they allow you to be anonymous as well. If you do not want to talk to anyone, you can also text the word tip to that number, and the form will come up, and you can still remain anonymous if you like. So please, by all means, if you know anything, it's past time. You have had plenty of time to reflect on this whole entire thing. Just give my family, some closure. So if you know anything, please speak out and say something. If you don't want to, if you feel like you're snitching or whatever, utilize a burner phone. That's why I always keep saying over and over again, utilize a burner phone, very cheap. I would say I send you, that's kind of defeating the purpose, but get you one of those burner phones and definitely text the word tip to that number or call, whatever you want to do, and give us those answers. So, all right. And also, if you are new to the channel, please like and share this channel. Definitely been helping when you guys have been doing that. Got it up to 1,000 subscribers. It have opened up some things like community tabs and stuff. I'm still trying to learn how to utilize other things. I'm still talking with Gizla K from Grizzly True Crime. She's been hitting me up and let me know. So like I said, I give her credit to some of this YouTube channel because she's the one that helped me get it off the ground, and she's still constantly in the background doing things like you see. Some of the tags and stuff that goes up in the YouTube. She's doing that for me. So really grateful for her work that she's doing in the background with this channel. And like I said, and some of the things that comes with the channel, I'm still trying to get the time just to even do it. That's the crazy part, is just trying to find the time to be able to do certain things for you guys. Thank you for coming out and things like that. So what I think I do need is a multiple screen. But one thing is also, if you guys want to distribute flyers, you can email us. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com with your information. We may be able to get those flyers out to you. That's what I've been working on, to make sure I get all the flyers out there to those who desire to have flyers. If you want to help us out, you can also print your flyers out, and that will help me out tremendously. It cuts some of the costs. You guys, if you want to print the flyers out, the PDF is on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com under the PDF tab. You'll see the flyer PDF there, and you can print those flyers out and pass them in your community. If you want to be a part of the flyer distribution, becoming a volunteer ambassador, you definitely can also hit me up by coming out tomorrow, every Thursday at 5 o'clock p.m. here in Arizona time. That's also in California time, 5 p.m. In California time, specific time, as well as 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys can come out, there's on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. There's a link there for the Zoom link there every Thursday. Like I said, at 5 p.m. here in Arizona time. You can join me on the Zoom, and I can talk to you about the ambassador program and see if you guys want to be a part of that. I did talk to a few people who came to the last two, but first two Zoom meetings. And so we get some people involved to get those flyers out, because I definitely need those flyers out, and also has helped to build some other things as well. Volunteer in other ways tab. You guys have skill sets and things that you think you contribute, and you live in another city, another state, even another country. You can also, like I said, hit that volunteer in other ways tab, and also fill out that form so we can know what your skill sets are. All right. Thank you so much. If you guys want to contact me as well, that's the number down at the bottom. And also you can contact me through the Please Help Find Daniel at yahoo.com. Again, if you guys have any questions, please in the comment section, put the word question there first, a capital letter Q or a question mark, something like that, to help me see you when I come down. So that way I don't miss your question. If I do miss it, by all means, ask it again. All else fails, I do have a second Q&A. That's Q&A prime time today. So you guys want to come out this evening and join that Q&A as well. So just come out this evening and join in, and definitely would like to see you there. So if we're answering your questions as well. All right. I do want to tell Aussie, thanks so much for being here this morning for this Q&A. Thank you, Tracy, for being here this morning for the Q&A as well. Mary Flynn, I really appreciate you. You came out here first early this morning saying good morning. So you almost beat me on here. So I really thank you so much for coming out as well. Patty, thank you so much. Jocelyn, thank you so much. Thank you, Sophia, for being here this morning. Thank you for moderating and also being part of the board and team. All right. If you guys can, thank you, Sophia, putting that up as well. Some things I didn't talk about. If you want to donate to help me in my efforts, my efforts to find my son, I'm still doing things out here. First of all, I'm still here in Arizona. Keep my foot on the ground. I need help with that as well as the flyer distribution and things like that. And as you guys have slowed and paused the searches because some of the same reasons. As also trying to get the forensic stuff done. So. But if you guys want to support me being here and have my foot on the ground and keep me going, I really appreciate that. Anything, any amount can help as well to keep me here as well. So I really appreciate those who have donated. Like I said, I wouldn't have had a search. I wouldn't have had been able to do these flyer distributions. I wouldn't be able to do all the other stuff I'm doing to investigate my own son's disappearance. So you guys, it's because of you guys. There's so much I can say. So many things have been actively been happening since I started this thing. From day one. It's all been an active move. I've been literally working since that time. So you guys have been, without you guys, I wouldn't have been able to do it alone. So, all right. And also thank you guys. If you have the PDF, like I said, Please Help Find Daniel, the PDF tab. Again, thanks to Phil for putting that out. And the volunteer in other ways tab, that's the links there that she's putting there. So I really thank you for putting all that out for those who are in the chats. All right, thank you, Shiro Nation, as well. Thank you so much for coming out to that flyer distribution as well. The flyer distribution ambassadors, like I said, the meeting that I had there, the Zoom meeting. Thanks for showing up there. I really appreciate you being here this morning as well. All right, a day of remembrance. Thanks, Sophia, again. The day of remembrance again, you guys, September the 10th. Okay, so we have two different things, but September the 10th there. Thank you so much. If you guys can come out there and support. All right, we're gonna get that time part right. I think it's 6 p.m. to 10. So definitely gonna make sure you guys can come out there and support. Please be a support early. You know what I'm saying? If you guys can start preparing for that and come on out there, support the families as well as my family. And for, like I said, those families who have missing persons, you can also hit us up and say, you want to reserve a spot for yourself. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. And as well as if you want to just be a support, you can RSVP by going to Eventbrite, Day of Remembrance, or you can just go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and hit the events tab, and all that will come up for you. Constance Kellogg, thanks so much for being here as well. Claudia, thanks so much for being here as well. I really appreciate you being here this morning. Also, thank you, Patty, for being here this morning. Amber, thank you for your prayers. Also, Amber, thank you so much for being here this morning. Good morning to you as well. Victoria, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you being here. All right, and thank you, Barry, for being here this morning, being part of the team, also being a moderator, helping in the moderating the chats as well, and all your love and support that you're doing in the background for me and my family. I really appreciate that. All right, and thank you again. Thank you again for putting that up as well. All right, thank you so much. All right, Caitlin, thanks for being here this morning. I really appreciate that. And Caitlin have a question here. And thank you, Caitlin, for putting the first question here in this morning's Q&A. I really appreciate that. And thank you for, like I said, coming out for Facebook and joining us in. If you guys, real quick, if you have your first time here, please hit that like, share, subscribe button, and just tell people about this channel. It's for me to put Daniel's story out there. That's the reason why I created this Q&A, is because, one thing I have learned, quickly, is that I had to take me 3 months just to get some kind of attention to Daniel's case, to get it out there to the public, as well as get some news coverage about Daniel's case. I mean, I fought hard for 3 months. I put Daniel's name out there for the hard work to being caught by some of those. There's one lady had a viral tweet to getting the Joel Reed to take up on it. Also, you guys know, they've been boosted also by a tragedy, a devastation for a family, the Petito case, that also boasted Daniel's story. So, it's been hard. But from that point, like I said, those stories, it lasts for a while. We've seen a lot of series come out of that. People talk about missing in America and things like that, different stories from different networks. But after a while, those things kind of come down. I started noticing those things kind of quickly. And one of the problems I had was, reporters. Of course, I look at it, very passionate people. I have some reporters, I have journalists to this date, would call and check out and reach out still. Hey, you doing okay? I just wanted to let you know I'm still praying for you, that type stuff. But one of the biggest keys is to get Daniel's story out there on the air. The first thing they ask, hey, you have any new updates? You have any new things? You have anything new? And I just learned that that's what happens with news medias and things like that. You have to have something new. If you don't have law enforcement with helicopters flying all over the place and dogs all over the place searching for your loved one, they won't have no updates. There would be nothing really new, for something that seemed, I guess, in my view, something exciting that would keep your person's story out there. So those type deals. So, so I decided to build this channel myself to have to control the narratives, and as well as to keep Daniel's name out there. One thing you cannot do is let your loved one's story die. And so you just keep it out there and try to do everything you can to keep it alive. So, because that's what I'm saying, it's crucial that people can hear about your loved one's story, because when they hear about your loved one's story, that one person that may know something that I talk to every morning, that I have the tip line for, that one person may have an answer that would give, give a closure to this whole entire thing. So I'm trying to reach that person, trying to reach someone who may heard something, see something, say something, and definitely really need that. So I'm trying to keep this channel going, and that's the reason for building this channel, like I said, to keep Daniel's story out there, as well as give information to people like yourselves who've been very big champions. Like I said, I hadn't been here this long. I came here not knowing anybody, never organized anything in my life, was able to do all of that. But at the same time, like I said, couldn't do it without you guys. You guys have been supporting financially as well as physically. And also for those who could not come out here, been praying and things like that, and saying morally, helping as well, pushing me to keep going. So, but this channel, like I said, channel is not just for Daniel as well. I've been passionate to try to help other families. Like I said, not to go through the same stuff. So I'm willing to share. So I reach out to families all the time. It's hard to get people behind the cameras. I did get Sherry to come on before. I've been reaching out to other families as well to try to get them on this Q&A to share their loved one's story. And maybe they'll be able to, get some attention that they needed attention. But like I said, this is for Daniel, so you guys can try to help me get more people by like, share, subscribe. That really help with the algorithms to get Daniel's story farther out there. And that's my whole point. is on. I ask you guys, can you please hit that like, share, and subscribe button? That really helps as well. So keep this channel growing. All right, so thank you so much, Caitlin, for your question. Caitlin Rogers here, Facebook. Have you reached out to Tracy Fant in South Carolina for coverage? I'm not sure. I don't know who Tracy Fant is, but no, I have not. I have not. No, not. That's a new person. I don't know if she's part of a network or YouTube or something. I'm not sure, but no, that name is not familiar with me. But if you do, can put more information there for me as well, that'll help. And also, you can reach out to me there with more information on please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. And thank you, Caitlin, for coming in this morning. Thank you for the first question. If you guys have any more questions there, like Caitlin done here, put a capital letter Q there, or you can put the word question there or some question marks where I can see it as I'm coming down. That help me find your question. Sarah Joy, thank you for being here this morning. Good morning to you. Rachel Arnold, thank you so much for being here. Hello to you as well. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. I hope and I'm doing everything I can to bring Daniel back home for my family, for his mother. Good morning, Mr. Robinson. Thank you so much for being here. Tea and Wildflowers, you're always here. I really appreciate that. Also, thank you, Laura, for being here this morning off of Facebook, as well as Victoria. Okay, Victoria, I see you here again. It is September the 10th. That's right. So if you come out there of remembrance, thank you so much for that. But you come out there of remembrance as well. If you want to come out, definitely RSVP. Like I said, you can find that on the Eventbrite, or you just go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and hit the events tab. It's a lot easier, and whatever's easier for you. But yeah, definitely, if you have a missing loved one, I'm not sure, you want to be a part as well, just go to please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. Leave us a message there, and we get back with the team. We will get back with you on that. All right, Don, thank you so much for being here this morning. Thank you for your prayers and your love support. I really appreciate that. All right, and Sophia, thank you so much for putting that out as well. Shiro's Nation again, and Shauna, thanks so much, Shauna, for being here this morning. I really appreciate you also being a part of the board team as well as moderating. Thanks so much for being here this morning, and also moderating the chat. All right, I do have a question from T and Wildflower. Thank you, T and Wildflowers, for your question, and thank you for being a constant support. Mr. Robinson, do you know if it was it usual for Daniel to take pictures of his work logs? I have been going through I had some more information come off of Daniel's phone, and there were some times he was taking pictures of work logs. That's one of the things I've been saying out there. That was something unusual because at the time, that's all the information I had from what I was at that point from his cell phone. But now it comes out that he'd have done it before. But this one right here seemed more significant by the way that he took it. He took it for right directly onto the scrolls or whatever. So I'm just kind of trying to figure those parts out now at this point, just having a little bit more information. So, but I do know that some of those things on there, of course, I wouldn't know what those are. I do know that those samples that Daniel have gotten from those wells still remains in his vehicle. Those things I have not released to anyone. So those type deals are still there. So hopefully we can find out what was up with that one as well. All right. So, all right. That always comes with forensic stuff. I don't, like I said, told you guys before, I only saw that vehicle twice. And that's the time that Buckeye showed it to me, Detective Biffin. The second time was my investigator. He the one showed it to me, but both times I never physically touched the vehicle. I've been away from it, about 3 feet away from it with the detective from Buckeye. And then I've been at least about 15, 20 feet away from that vehicle with my investigator. So those vehicles, I've never been in close contact, but I do know from the pictures, as well as when Detective Biffin showed it to me and he opened that back door, I seen a lot of things that was in that vehicle. And so those things should still be there. All right. Oh, as well, Sarah Joy, thanks so much for being here this morning. Thank you for your question. Can you discuss your thoughts on geofencing and satellite image data? Gisela in the house. Oh, yes, Gisela's here. Okay, good. Oh, Grizzly in the house. Let's say Grizzly. Okay, Grizzly in the house. And I love the Grizzly. So thanks so much for being here, Sarah. I really appreciate that. But yes, well, one thing about geofencing, I don't know too much about that. I heard about it, how that works somewhat. as in the satellite image. A lot of satellite image that I have been looking in my past. I do have a lot of people come to me and on the phone and leave messages where they go back and look at those satellite images. It is so many satellites out there. It's amazing to even imagine how many satellites out there in space, But the thing is, the ones I have found, it was outdated, it wasn't updated. When I say it wasn't updated, and some was updated, like for instance, this year, for instance, something like that, after Daniel went missing. So a lot of those was useful to me. I haven't found one that was useful yet. Maybe that's one out there, but so far I haven't found one myself that's useful. So, excuse me. Geofencing, yeah, I need to look back more into that. Like I said, I'm not really skilled on that part of if that's something with satellite imagery or I think that's like tagging, geotagging from almost like how I think Google would do, for instance, that type deal. So, all right, thanks so much as well for coming out to the Q&A. All right, Michelle Underwood, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that coming out this morning. Like Shauna said, you guys, if you can like, share, and subscribe to the channel, that definitely would help. It would constantly help me get Daniel's story out there. It's constantly helped me with other families who hopefully I can get them on this channel to talk about their loved ones. And now one thing I want to put right here, just because I happen to see it, I believe in miracles too, Claudia. Thanks so much. And I really appreciate that. And I'm really seeking a miracle for me to bring Daniel home alive, bringing him back here with his family where he belongs, with me, his mother, of course, his siblings, his aunties, his grandparents, etc. So definitely pushing out there, doing everything I can on my part. All right. Thank you, Claudia, for your question. How do you and your families stand sane through all of this? One thing about my family and Daniel's mother's side as well, believe in God. Believe in God. So definitely have that strength from God. We also have family strength, and also, I can't say what happens to, for instance, Daniel's mother. Of course, she and I are divorced. The thing is, one thing I do know about her from knowing her, from high school, she has a strength too. Sometimes she's like I said, it's really tough for her. She'll go through a lot of emotional parts. She's a mother, of course, she's supposed to, but as in how she's doing right now, I can tell you she was taking it hard. Last I know, she was taking it really hard. So of course, and I'm sure she's still constantly taking that very hard. So it's not easy. As in for the rest of the family, like I said, we have, especially on my side, especially, a lot of faith, faith, and prayer warriors and things like that in my family. And, working really hard to try to get those answers. I'm out here on the ground. I represent my entire family. When I say I represent my entire family, those who have not been here, I'm definitely here on the ground searching for son. I don't speak for myself. What's easy for me is to search for my son, because he's my son and it's my job, and it's something that I have to do. It's not something I have to think about. Say, hey, look, are you gonna go search for your son or not? It's easy thought for me. Hey, look, no, I'm going to search for Daniel. Now, the hard part for me would be, like I said, to stay sane. I had my moments. I think I remember a couple months ago, you guys have been coming to me, some people, random people, and say, hey, Mr. Robinson, praying for your mind. And it was good that these people are doing that. Like I said, I believe in prayer. I believe in that type of stuff. And, people saying that, ironically, I was going through a moment. And so, to be able to keep your sanity, it's very hard. It's very hard, especially when you feel like you're not getting the support that you need from you pushing all you can, and then you keep hitting brick walls. So those type of things are very hard. You still don't have those answers. At times that felt like I have failed. Hey, look, I've been constantly trying, and then you go to a point where you get pushed in the corner. You try to find your way out. So that type of stuff. So, but yeah, just keep pushing through. He's my son. I had to, like I said, I do what I did when I first got here. For instance, for me, speaking just for myself, is treat Daniel as like I did in the military. Our mission is to complete our mission, to never leave a fallen comrade, that type stuff. Some of the things I have learned in the military, I applied it to searching for my son, so I'm definitely not going to quit on my son. Definitely not going to leave him behind. So some of those things, so to kind of keep my mind mentally sharp to make sure that I can be, effective for him. So it's hard. It's a thing. But like I said, you guys giving support, coming out to the Q&A, send out these nice messages. You guys have been support. All that stuff right there contributes to, helping as well. So definitely, you guys, if you think about that, that's definitely helping me and my family as well. Because they look at me, they ask me questions. Almost like the reporters, what's new, what's happening. And sometimes I just don't have some answers I can't give them. Some things I know, but I can't even give it to the family at the point. But the things is, it's very hard for them as well. And they express it to me all the time. All right. And I want to say what Shauna put here as well. Like, share, and subscribe, you guys, if you can. Again, please, if you can do that, help spread Daniel's story. That definitely would, definitely help. Thank you, Angie, for being here this morning as well in this Q&A. And thank you, Anna, for your question. I really appreciate you coming out also from the Facebook side of things. Okay, we have a question here. Did they look into the coworker who saw him that morning? He said that he followed his tracks and felt the need to be preserved. Why not follow if he had a bad feeling to make sure Daniel was okay? Well, I can't speak what was in the mind of a person, but I can examine the things that that workers say. And I'm going to put this up front. I never say this guy is guilty of anything. Only thing I'm saying about this guy who's last seen my son is his story is not matching the true timeline. His story don't make sense to me, and I'm trying to figure out why those things don't match to what the realities are, right? And so the timing, for instance, that you guys found out last week, the time, like I said, my son had made a phone call. He said my son was gone since 9:15. And I do see in the report, and I did put that on the end of this thing I showed you guys, this video I made, the timeline video. One of the things I want to point out as well is that, the Buckeye Police Department is always go by the initial report, right? The initial report that was there, the first person, Officer Cruz. And I told you guys many times, the first officer I talked to that night when I reported Daniel missing was Officer Cruz. All this whole thing is based on what he found out. He said the worker told him that my son went missing around 9 o'clock that morning. They was at the well site around 9 o'clock, and he was gone around 9:15. And so he said he was gone, and he haven't heard from Daniel since that time, right? But like I said, my son called at 9:27, which when I put the timeline together, it appears that my son was just trying to call to get directions. So there's a lot of things that was that's not matching up to what he was saying. And then I see later he had another officer which I have a lot of questions about. And I'll tell you guys later, you'll find out the reasons why, who also put the young lady's testimony up there with when I say testimony, meaning the putting the let her upload her own text messages there without having two sides of that, and showing my son's side as well, is examining that through the phone records. Because they had the phone record, they would have been asking me for the phone records after that stuff was put up in their report. But they was asking me and the family for those phone records and stuff like that. And like I said, they never got anything from us, but they strolled down the phone. So just having those type things, having those things uploaded beforehand, before even getting a police report, getting a phone record, they decided to let this woman put her stuff up there. And I tell you, from Daniel's from the actual phone record, those text messages don't match what's actually on the phone record, meaning there's some things that's there. We don't know what's been said in between those text messages that Daniel, between her, but some of the things missed, for instance. But the whole thing I'm saying, we go back to what your question is about this guy. Yeah, I think they haven't done any proper vetting of his story, because I have been on the ground. I have been saying, hey, about preserving tracks. It's impossible to do that when you're preserving track. If you even put it in your mind to preserve tracks, when you're going down that trail, and I showed y'all a video right here on this YouTube, it's impossible to go down that trail without your vehicle wheels riding over some other tracks. And there's hundreds of tracks. I ain't saying hundreds, but a lot of tracks there, because a lot of vehicles ride through there. And the crazy part about it, they look fresh. no matter because it's been raining. It's been raining since that time. Daniel missing, of course, and some of those tracks are still there. We have tracks, and right now, if I go out there today, some of the tracks have been there since summer last year. Will still be there that we created. So that type stuff. So you guys, it's a lot of stuff just don't match to what he's saying. Also, the timeline those doesn't match, as well as, like I said, I go back to that initial police officer who spoke with him first. The first initial things he said was 9 o'clock, 9:15. But then that other officer came back and said 9:30. They say, oh, he got the, and I figured that's part of matching some of that stuff. But anyway, the whole point is that's what I see in that report, and that's what you guys see me put that little part in that video to say, hey, it's been changed later, and the later is through the other officer who went the second time. So that means the guy's story changed. They don't think nothing wrong with that as well. So, but his story changed with me as well. Like I told you, when I talked to him, that's when he came saying, hey, I stayed left of the tracks. And, because I know this thing's going to turn big and it's going to go, national, it's going to turn big. The police going to come looking, that type stuff he was saying, as well as going out spraying rocks with red paint and things like that. None of that's in the report. They like to put everything they wanted into that police report, but they never put my testimony, what was told to me with witnesses in that report, and go by that. They just go by what they wanted to. So I'm saying they did all kind of things where just kind of excuse my son's case. And that's what I said, some of the damages things that could have been done at the beginning to find out quickly what happened to my son. They chose to ignore those things. So, all right. And that's the reason why. But anyway, the reserve, I don't know. I can't say what's in this guy's mind, of course. But, never calling the guy a liar. I'm going to say it like this. His story don't add up. It don't make sense. And so those things should have been vetted a lot more. All right. And we can go back through that again. I will go back through that timeline again. Ossie, thanks so much for your question. Any group searches coming up? Well, I have, I can't put certain things out right now, but as in the organized searches, no, not no time right now, no time like really in the near time frame. But whenever some things change that I can't be able to do that, I will. But I can now. Some of the other stuff that goes on will be going on with the desert. So you guys, but I definitely for the public search and things like that, yeah, I would put that on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. That comes up again. It is going to be cooling off here in Arizona, going into the fall season. Even though it's still hot, but it's going to be cooling off. And so that helped as well. So I'll just definitely look out for that. Pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. I will have updates and things like that based on that, what will be done. Also, I have a question here from Anna. Thank you, Anna, for putting your question here and coming out to this Q&A and supporting. Was the vehicle found in the direction the co-worker saw the tracks go? Pretty much, yes. I know it was found almost a month later. Was the area searched before the vehicle not being there prior? Yes, the vehicle's found. Okay, where the thing was told us, when I say us, me and my family, Buckeye, the police department, said they went out to search for my son. Of course, you guys know they denied the search that I asked for that night with a helicopter. They came out to say they was going to do it the next morning, and they didn't do it because it been denied, because they said without any evidence, and out talking to Daniel himself, that Daniel wanted to. He's a grown man. He wanted to, if he wanted to go, disappear based on his own. He can. He's a grown man, and so the search was canceled. Flight was canceled. Right. It took my auntie from Philly, out there in Philadelphia, to call them. I don't know what she said to them, but then they said, "Hey, we're gonna get this Phoenix Firebird." That's almost 3 days after Daniel went missing. They did the Phoenix Firebird helicopter flight, they say, and they flew over that area looking, doing the search by helicopter. They claim they also been on the ground. They claim they also been at the well site, that type stuff, and nothing. No vehicle was there. So you can't make a vehicle there, right? Then not only that, they waited almost 2 weeks later and did this other search on July the 9th with Silver Air Patrol. And Silver Air Patrol, of course, they didn't want me in the gate. They blocked the gate. I later, also you can look in the report. They put it as in, they didn't want me to mess up the integrity, I guess, of the search. Something like, I'm the father. coming from out of town. They know where I'm coming from, but they didn't want me out there to see whatever they really was doing, in my opinion. So the thing is, they're out there searching this area where the vehicle would eventually be found, and the vehicle wasn't there. They claim they did this 2 aircraft pass by. That's a falsification as well. I was out there and I was videotaping. You guys will see those videos as well. One aircraft did a fixed wing aircraft did one pass through, and that was it. The thing is, they went out there, but they was high enough. And going over that area where the vehicle was found, they have a bit map there. They tell you guys a bit map there. They show you it's online. Matter of fact, you can see where the car is supposed to be at, whatever, on that map on July 9th, which I don't know how they was able to do that as well. But definitely went over that area, and the vehicle wasn't there, according to after their reports. The vehicle wasn't there, right? And then, like I said, also that goes with the rancher who actually found the vehicle 10 days after the Civil Air Patrol search. He found that vehicle on July the 19th, and he was there 2 days before that. So 2 days before that, chasing his cattle, and the vehicle wasn't there. And then, like I said, on 19th, the vehicle was there. So it's all kind of indication that show that, as well as the damage don't match terrain, all the stuff that my investigator found. The vehicle just wasn't there. They want to make it there for whatever reason. The vehicle wasn't there, right? They even came out on public when people started asking the question, well, how you had these searches over the area and didn't see a vehicle if it was there? They said, oh, the terrain was thick and this and that. You guys, matter of fact, I will be putting that out as well. So we'll be talking about a lot of things here on this Q&A for the next couple of weeks. I have to put out some things. You guys can look at the pictures that they gave me, initial pictures, after I had that meeting a couple of days after they gave me the vehicle on the 20th of July, gave me the vehicle. I had the meeting. They, give me all my son's things marked for safekeeping. You'll see the pictures they gave me. And it's funny because the rancher told me there was no helicopters out there on July the 19th looking for my son, as they saying this low flying helicopter, man hang out the window. I can hold my hands up and touch the bottom of the helicopter. I mean, this playing me. And this guy said no helicopters out there. All thing they had was a drone. And it's kind of ironic. When I asked the Chief Hall for all the information they had, I said, hey, I need all your pictures that you got. I'm going to give you everything that he told me. And it's funny, when they gave it to me, the only thing they gave me when it comes to pictures, it was a file in there, and I still have it to this date, that says drone footage. They have it marked drone, but nothing says helicopter footage at all. So I think there was never a helicopter footage. That's also a falsification in the report. And there was no helicopter searches that day, but they had drone footage. And so they had the drone footage there. And if you look at it, everything this rancher said, he told me how many cops was out there. And it's ironic, you count those officers. I say about 6 of them on the pictures they have themselves. That type stuff, that's kind of stuff. So all the stuff that they put in the report was accurate. They had search dogs and with S, cadaver dogs with S, and there's only one dog they brought out there. Things like that. So all that falsification that was in the report. So as in the direction, like I said, the vehicle found there. No, the vehicle wasn't there. It wasn't there. It was found in the direction he said. This guy. So, but you guys, the story he told me is the story that would lead you to that area, ironically, to where Daniel's vehicle would eventually be found. Hey, you had to go through this gate. You had to go south. You come to the T junction, and he went west, and he came to this gate. He opened his gate and went down another mile. So, and got out on foot and went up on a hill, and to see if he could see him. But when he tell the story now, high in sight, when I look at the story and I trace that story on foot, you guys seen the video here. It leads to where the area where Daniel's vehicle would actually be found. So that type deal. So that stuff right there is what is problematic for me as well. Also, the problem is also you guys also know about the vehicle 2 days prior to my son's vehicle being found out in the desert that looks just like Daniel's vehicle on the side of Verado Way area down in Buckeye as well. When I mentioned that I was going, me and my daughter was going to see this vehicle that day, the guy saw it there, literally see it there, who phoned me and told me. I called Buckeye, and before I can finish my sentence, he said, oh, that ain't your son's vehicle. I had to ask him, pretty much make him send a police cruiser out there to go see. But before I can get my daughter, pick her up, and we get out there, as soon as we was on the way out there, the young man called me and said, hey, somebody told the vehicle where it's gone. He went back out to check. The vehicle's gone. I told him, hey, look, the police department said they were going to send an officer out there. He said, I seen Buckeye vehicle out there, but the vehicle gone. To this day, they won't tell me who towed that vehicle away. And then 2 days later, oh, we found your son's vehicle in the desert, that type deal. So all that stuff right there is problematic for me. So those things I'm still looking into. Well, I have a lot of answers though, but I have some things I have to tie together to get those answers and put out publicly. All right. And so there's a lot of unknowns to the public, but it's not a lot of unknowns for me. But there's a lot of things there that I have to put together, and that's the reason why I think forensics would be some of the biggest things. Those would be the biggest things that help tie some of that stuff together. All right. Thanks so much for your question, and I do have a question here as well. All right, from Amber. Thank you, Amber, for coming in for this Q&A. Thanks for your question. I found it odd that the co-workers started calling Daniel seemingly concerned only after such a short time. What made the co-workers think Daniel was missing and not not another job site or just taking a break? It had to be in around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And you're correct. One of the things that don't make sense as well, like you said, this worker said that the one that put in the initial that we're doing this whole narrative about said that he wasn't aware about Daniel so-called being missing, I guess, or anything like that until about 3 o'clock, right? That's what he's saying now. So, but why is the workers, like you said, around 10 or so, started calling and leaving these voicemails and concerned? You don't think that worker talked to them and say, hey, they've been missing, we think something ain't right, or he's claiming that he talked to Matrix and say, hey, he been acting strange, whatever case he had to say about him. And probably he the one that alerted, but at the same time say, I didn't know anything about it until later on, even they started updating me throughout the day or whatever on what happened and things like that. So one of the things is, if you was that concerned and you say, hey, look, this guy's acting weird or whatever you want to say, and I'm concerned he just drove off. He called my son early that morning, right? My son missed his call him right back, according to the phone record. You'll think that if he felt that way, right, that Daniel was something wrong with him, and he called the job and just to tell them what happened, when you think he would have called Daniel too? It's a phone call away. Like I told you, Daniel called him at 9:27. He never returned the call. No text message, no call, no nothing. The next call that Daniel got on his phone from that guy was 3 or something in the afternoon. It was a missed call, of course, because Daniel was missing at that point. He wouldn't answer to nobody, not even to us, the family, or nothing. So a lot of stuff just don't add up. It don't make sense, don't add up. So, that's like you said, those things just don't go together. But yeah, I'll be putting out more and more to try to explain what I see, the timeline here, the narrative, and the things I see, not the narrative, but the theories that I have there, and the reasons why. And it make more sense when everything get tied together along with law enforcement. Y'all start seeing a bigger picture. But I had to put all those things together. It's taking me some time. And when I get them together, I'll be sharing everything like that on Q&A. I have nothing else to lose, you guys, as you can understand. I've been trying to fight for a whole entire year. It seemed like all kind of law enforcement agencies, like I said, they have this big blue wall of protection. I think some of them even afraid. If you got something you're trying to do the right things for a person or do the right things, it should be what you're afraid of. Truth is nothing to be afraid of. If you dare to do the right stuff, then what is there to be afraid of? First of all, the problem that I have is, I think, and you guys see it all the time, who polices the police? I went out to the FBI, I went out to certain agencies and things like that. Who police the police when something don't seem right? Who look into whatever? You're just a private citizen, and you're trying to do the best you can. And they're supposed to be serving, protecting, not each other. They're supposed to be serving, protecting the community. When something is wrong, if officers or whoever don't step up and do the right thing, they're just as bad as the persons who's doing it. If you're there, you see something that seems to be a cover up, or you see something that don't seem right, it's fishy and phony, and you don't go look into it, and you have the authority as an officer, no matter what department you're in, and you don't do those things, you're a bad officer too. You're complicit. You're complicit with these people. So the thing is, I'm saying is, that's some of the stuff that I'm having a problem with here. So like I said, you guys, I'm putting things together in a certain way that I have to protect myself as well. But you know what? Those things will be starting to become a lot public, more so public as time goes, because you know what? you guys need to know what's really going on and what's happening. So definitely, nobody else stepping up, so I had to step up for my family, and that's one of the things as well as the way I'm doing this, you guys. So you guys want to continue to support. I really appreciate you. You do have another question here. I do see that, Amber. Your next question there. Are you able to see how long the conversation was between Daniel and Ken at 9:20? Yes, I do. And is it weird that Ken lied and told the police that he had talked to him last at 9 and not 9:28? Yes, it is strange. And so, it is strange. Like I said, you have to go by that initial report. And I don't care what this other officer had to say about this 9:30 stuff. And it still don't make sense with the 9:30, don't make sense with the 9:20, 27, 28 call. I'm trying to put that in, get my memory on that one, but that call that Daniel made to Ken. So all that stuff just don't add up, right? So you guys, and the funny part is Daniel kept calling is because Ken wasn't answering. Daniel last text to him before he kept calling was, "Hey man, how you get there?" Basically, that was the text message. "Hey, how do you get to the location?" He's asking for it. That was like a little after 8 o'clock. He said, "Hey, how you get there?" He didn't get no response, get no phone call, so he called again. From the timeline, from the call, he didn't response. Then he ended up calling again at 9 something, almost 9:30, right? Seemed like he didn't get a response on that as well. So that's the point. Then from that point, I didn't hear anything else from Daniel ever again in life. So those things just don't add up. And so you put the timeline together, put what you do know, and some more things that, like I said, that I did get off that phone now that will be coming out as well. I just got to find someone who can tell me what was wise and what's not wise to put out there. All right, here we go. Amber, again, for your question. I really appreciate your questions. I really need those. According to Ken, didn't he say that Daniel left the job around 9:15? Yes, initially. That can't be true. If Daniel called him at 9:28, yes. Why would he call him again if he had already left? Seems odd. And in fact, if that was true, like I say, he didn't even mention that in the report. He said he didn't hear from him ever again. That's a lie if that's the case. So that type stuff. So that's what I'm saying. What I'm looking at is Buckeye, and I'm gonna call him out directly. Haven't even tried to vet the story. Didn't look into the deepness of the report. They didn't have the phone records during that time, but yet they put certain things in the report. And then when they got the phone records, they might try it now. And we talking about on the Q&A after almost a year, after over a year, you might start seeing some stuff. Then they go back and say, "Oh yeah, we got the reports and blah blah blah," and try to back it up. This department, I'm just how I put it, in my opinion, this department, but it's a facts also. This department has been caught falsifying documents and facts. As a matter of fact, the chief hall at the time, he got suspended, and one quit because of the falsification they have in this department. We just had another officer just a couple weeks here in Arizona, you guys don't know, from Buckeye, who got indicted for stealing people information. So all that stuff is in the local news right now here in Arizona about that department. So there's a lot of things goes on in that department, and I can see the reasons why my son's case is being handled the way it has been. And like I said, that's the reason why when I first got here, I didn't know anything about what department to call. When I put the report in, I called Tempe. I called Tempe Police Department. I didn't call Buckeye. I called Tempe Police Department, tell them what happened. My son is a resident of Tempe. He went missing from his job. And the first thing they said, where he went missing, where? And I had to go get information from, of course, from his coworkers. All that I could say, well, his coworkers told me that he was working at his job site out there near some White Tank Mountains. I didn't know what a White Tank Mountain was. I'm in South Carolina trying to put a report in. I said, "Oh, White Tank Mountains." The lady got up and looked up, I guess, where the White Tank Mountains is. She said, "Oh, that's a Buckeye." And said, "Well, you had to call Buckeye to put the report in." Okay, I mean, I'm not an officer. I'm just a father trying to find my son. And they told me Buckeye. And they gave me the Buckeye number and told me to call them and put a report in. So, like I said, when I called them, of course, I had to wait those extra hours because they have that 12-hour report time. But the thing is, I initially wanted Tempe to do my son's, because he's a resident of Tempe. So the thing is, one of the things is about this whole entire, Ken thing, that department destroyed that a lot of initial things that we can talk about that, that department. And that's the reason why I have these problems to this date. All right. Thank you so much for your question, and I hope I answered those questions for you. Also, thank you, Larnell, for being here this morning. I really appreciate you as well, being, everything you do for me and my family, always being there. I really appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much. All right. And thank you again for putting that information out there as well. Let's see, if everybody have any more questions, please put the word question there, followed by your question. And hopefully I can make sure I get it. If I miss your question, please, by all means, ask that question again. And let's see, because I did kind of scroll down too fast here. But I do have one from T and Wildflower. And okay, well, I think we already had that question before. But yeah, I think I already had a question before. And let's see here. I kind of lost my track here, you guys. So I'm still trying to find out where I was at. All right. Okay, I'm coming down this comment section. You guys have any more questions? And you might see some of your questions come back up again, Amber, for instance. But I do remember I did answer those questions for you. It just I lost my spot here to kind of stroll that. So I'm kind of looking to see if I can find them more. If you guys have any questions, definitely put the word question there before your question. Put some question marks there or something like that so I can find it as I'm coming down. I do have a question mark here from Spivey. Thank you, Spivey, for coming out to the Q&A this morning. And your question is, how has the change in the timeline of the phone calls affected the case? For Buckeye, I'm sure it didn't affect them at all because they'd be going against what they have not found, So for them, it'll be something I'm sure they're going to double down on, to still try to make themselves right. They're not concerned of trying to find Daniel, find out what happened to him. It's concerned of, in my opinion, to try to make themselves look good. That type of stuff. So like they really did a whole lot. You put a lot of stuff you did for, I went this place, I did this, I talked to this person, I did this, blah, blah, blah. But all those things you're doing is actually trying to find Daniel, or is something that you're doing, like I said, to say I did something. And I'm not the person, I didn't come all the way 2,000 some miles just to hear a police department say I did something. And then like some families, they do, hey, I did what I can and that's it, and move on. No, not my son. That ain't gonna happen, So the thing is, and it shouldn't happen to any family. But the thing is, definitely, those things that matters haven't been done. The forensics that matter haven't been done. The initial thought about my son, versus what a family say versus some coworker stuff, to them it mattered, so it wasn't done. So certain things like that. So I can go over this whole case, but yeah, it changed a lot for me a long time ago. It hurt. Because I'm on a Q&A, had to repeat some of the same thing over and over and over again for the sake of the police department, to try to help them out, to keep some kind of integrity and try to hopefully to do the right thing. But now it's time to go ahead and start exposing a lot of stuff. So the thing is, I'm saying, you can't sit around and wait on people. You ask somebody to help you. It's almost like some great man said before, you beg somebody for help, they ain't going to do nothing for you. Sometimes you have to go take it for yourself. And then, so that's the reason why I'm here fighting for my son. All right. T and Wildflower, thank you so much. Mr. Robinson, are you able to verify if a fuel truck actually did show up to the well site as mentioned on K's voicemail? No, I do not. I don't know who the fuel truck was or what it is. I don't even know if it had anything in relation to the so-called Daniel stopping by and get some fuel at this. And I'm still waiting on Buckeye to show me proof of that. I don't have anything that's even shows that Daniel pump gas, other than some video they claim they had, and now they're saying they don't. That type of stuff, or just have pictures or whatever. Just like they have still pictures of the Waffle House now instead of the video. No, I don't have any answers to that. Who possibly came up there with a fuel truck and stuff like that. So no, I don't have any information on that one. Would there be any record of the time? I'm sure it is. If a fuel truck showed up there for whatever reason, whatever company that is, I'm sure they probably would know that. At least I would hope so. But I don't have any way, I don't believe, to get that kind of information without directly talking to Ken. So I don't know, or his company. I don't know the answer to that one. So guys, if you have any more questions as well, and thank you for your question, T and Wildflower. I really appreciate it. If you have any more questions, please put the word question there, question mark, like T Wildflower, capital letter Q. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Laura, for your question. as well, with the bones found in June on June 25th. Search any news on those? No. Once those things get turned, it's a lot of things. I'm saying this. There's a lot of things. I remember when I first started my searches, we found the human remains out there first. Of course, they was called human remains, right? We found a lot of animal remains out there because animals out there eating each other. It's a desert. You got a mountain lion out there. You got all kind of stuff, coyotes, who you name it, even bird of prey. So things eating each other out there in the desert. Of course, that's just natural. That's natural. What happens out there for animals, but when you find the human remains, it's definitely what's called human remains. I'm not an expert. That's the stuff I got from law enforcement, and also some pathologists happen to be volunteering out there on the ground with us. And so those things, every time we find things like that, even the clothing in the pile of clothing that we found, things we found out there, all that stuff is turned over to Buckeye. My website, Please Help Find Daniel, is set up that way where the volunteer click up on the link. All they do is open up the link off the page, and they open their camera on their phone. They take the picture, upload it, and a copy comes to myself, my investigator, and as well as the Buckeye Police Department, right? I don't really feel confident about them, but they are law enforcement, and I have those things sent up to them. So they do get things from them. Despite what they may say to you guys, have been very cooperative with them, which means some kind of regrets. But being able to get them those things, and once they receive those things, I don't know what they do with them. Other parts is they'll say they're human remains, some of them, right? But then when I start making a big deal, once they gave me everything with my sons, and the things that been, like I said, they shutting down on me. They even went on public and say all the bones that they were calling human remains at the time, all the bones now are not, they all animal bones except for the skull. That's what they literally came out and did that, right? Made me very angry. The reason why it made me angry, first of all, that's somebody's loved ones you call an animal remain. The other part is that's the hard work of the volunteers that's out there with me, finding these human remains. And then you slap them in the face, and now all of a sudden turn around and say they all animal remains, and except for the skull, because they couldn't deny the skull, the human skull. You can't deny a skull. A skull is a skull. And so they are now is also just a skull. But then they are like they did the last set of remains, very fresh, still have marrow on it, things like that. Hate to be graphic. Very scary for me because it's so fresh. They call those animal bones as well. Until it been fight, fuss, and had the pathologist look at it from Maricopa County. Came back 3 hours later, said they all human bones. And then the first time I ever seen Buckeye come out there and make something a crime scene. And what I'm saying is some of those bones that we know that they said it was human remains bones that we mark, and we take those put those tags there for them to come out there to grab those things. We did double. Sometimes we had to go over areas twice, and those remains still sitting on the ground. So I'm not confident that they pick up everything we found out there, and actually, come out there to look at them, come out there to pick them up, to retrieve them, because some of those things are still out there. And it's sad because, that's the kind of thought I have when I had to cancel or pause my searches, is in my mentality, because I had to see things like that out there. I see if my son happened to be out there, God forbid, him being scattered around the same way these other people's family members is. And it's hurtful. I feel really horrible inside right now to even think about that. You got loved ones who've been looking for their loved ones for years and don't have no answers. But then we find a remain that never been picked up, for instance, or been called some type of animal remain, and not to come out there to have somebody actually look at those. It's hurtful because, first of all, that stops some people from getting the closure, and the ones that was able to get some of those closures for those people that they couldn't deny, still they only getting a bone or something here and there. They're not getting a full person. And so that's very hurtful. That's very hurtful to even think about that in my head, and the possibility for my son, that type of stuff. And that's the reason why I had so much urgency, and I've been doing the searches for 40-some weeks out there, covering over 30-some thousand acres of land, is because of those realities. Look, if he's out there, we need to find him, because I know the harshness that the desert can do to a human body, and dealing with the wildlife and things like that. So yes. As in for those searches, I don't know what they do with those remains after they receive them. So they won't tell us who they belong to, things like that. So I won't have all those answers. I only know of one answer to only one. All right. Thank you for your question. Also, PM Channel, thanks so much for your question as well. Here, question was any employee, Daniel, Daniel was an employee of Matrix New World who went missing on company time. That is true. He didn't know the area. Why didn't they go after him to make sure he was okay? Just left him out there. And that's one of the things that the family and I had problems with, and continue to have those problems. Is that exactly what you just said? I told the owner that before. I used to have a lot of meetings with them as well, all the time. So like board meetings, I call it, which is true. We had those meetings, and one time with the owners, I was able to talk to the husband of the owner, and also the family. Like our concern is, he was when at the time on company time, and you'll think with all the resources they have, it's a company. They would have had their own helicopters out there. I mean, I was able to do it. In my searches, I had to charter a helicopter. Thank God you guys are donating money. Had to charter a helicopter to fly over there to try to search, right, for one of the searches. And you'll think that a company would do the same for their employee. Because I told them, hey, look, if one of my employees missing, and on my company time, I wouldn't have to call the family. I mean, I'm going to call the family and tell them what's going on, but you best believe I'm going to have every resource I can out of my money, out of my pocket, to go find my employee. You know what I'm saying? That's a desert. He's a geologist. He out there. I sent them out there in the desert. And so, I want to make sure that he's safe. He's brought back. Hey, if he took off, the whole point is they didn't know where he was at. And so they had to assume that something ain't right. And the job is to go search for him and find him. And if they found him and he just so happened to quit or something, then, hey, they can handle that after the end. But the point is, they didn't even try to go look like that. Only thing I heard from that company was, in fact, Daniel's friend from the job came to Daniel's daughter's apartment and just seeking for him from that way. And like you said, just the phone calls, that type stuff. Phone calls, phone calls ain't helping nothing in the desert. Ain't no telephone booths in the desert. So that type stuff. So the little things is, yeah, I agree with you on that part. That's some of the things that, like I said, my family and I are concerned about as well. All right. So, yeah, he is employee of Matrix New World. All right. Thank you also again for your question, as well. If anybody else have any questions, don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe button. That really will help here, this channel, to get it out there. You guys. Also, if you guys can, one of the things is you want to go out and reach out to whoever, law enforcement wise. My concern is I really don't want my son's case handled by that department any longer. That's what I'm advocating. So there's no, hey, I want Buckeye to do better or do more. No, I lost trust and confidence. I have all my son's things, that's one thing that should have never happened. If you was really concerned and really serious about trying to find out what happened to my son, those items I would have never gotten back or gotten at all. I wouldn't say gotten back, I gotten it all. The first item was the truck they gave me the day after. I mean, they even threatened me. Hey, you don't get out of here, we're gonna have a tow and you have to pay storage fees. That type deal, it only was kept a little longer because I just happened to ask them for 3 days. And in those 3 days I had that meeting with them at the police department where I had to force them and demand forensics work, them to do fingerprinting on the vehicle. So that type stuff. So, outside of that, I don't have any confidence. And then also, like I said, once my investigator and I turn in all physical evidence that vehicle was planted there, the damage don't match terrain, the red transfer paint, they stopped talking to me. And then they went to go hire their own accident reconstructions to put my son's vehicle right there in that ravine like they wanted to be. Because the evidence we gave them suggested it wasn't there. The stuff that you notice that they put the rancher that found the vehicle, but they're going to put his testimony that the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior, right? So they want that vehicle to be there for whatever reason really bad. to the point, like I said, they got an accident reconstructionist that went to a dealership. They didn't go to the company. They didn't go to the manufacturers. They didn't call the manufacturers because they know what's going to happen. They call the manufacturer, say, hey, do this match the blah, blah, blah discrepancy. The manufacturer be like, hey, no, because then there'll be a recall. There ain't no recall on that vehicle for that stuff. So, and then it goes down to the engineering part. But they went to some worker at a dealership as his opinion about something like that and put in a report. And not only that, this accident reconstruction that they hired, literally, you guys haven't even seen my son's vehicle, never touched it, never did anything, never even asked us to even see the vehicle, never touched it, but yet had put a full report in their report about my son's vehicle, something he had never seen. Looking at third-party pictures, he don't know how they took them pictures, third-party pictures, and then, like I said, going to a dealership and making an opinion. I don't even know if he even been on the ground out there, because if he was on the ground out there, the angle he said that vehicle come down, it was very impossible. You guys, it's easy to draw up an illustration on a piece of paper, but when you go out there and you use desert vehicles and try to get up those speeds and stuff with desert vehicles, lightweight vehicles made for that terrain, and we can't do it with that going up these hills and things like that. And he's saying that vehicle did it. It's all kind of things scientifically is impossible what he was saying, but it was just a rebuttal to my investigator who gave the right answers, who we was reluctant for other things that Buckeye have done. Like I said, the whole point, they said they had no investigation. That they told my investigator and told me and the public there was more leads to follow at the time when that vehicle was found. So when they gave that vehicle to me. So that was the kind of things, you guys, I know I jumped off from your question, PM, and I do that often because a lot of things be on my mind when it comes to the way my son's case was handled. So you guys will hear me do that time to time, start with one question, I go somewhere else. But the thing is, those are problematic for me and my family as well. All right. So I'm still really working on that to get answers as well. I hope I didn't lose my spot again here, guys. Okay, hold on for 1 minute here. I will find out where I'm at here. I did see one of the questions and want to get back to it. Okay, there we go. All right. So you guys, if you have any more questions, thank you, PM, for your question. If you have any more questions, please, by all means, do like PM did there, put the word question there before your question, or put the capital letter Q there, or a question mark or something like that. So when I come down this comment section, which I really am coming down kind of quick this time, I'm getting short on time, and I have 30-some minutes or so. I want to make sure I get all the questions I can. If I can't get to your question today after 30-some minutes from now or 40 minutes, I do have a Q&A this evening. You guys can come back to the evening Q&A and ask your questions there as well. Hopefully I have that new content I was telling you about, some stuff I want to share with the public. I should have those available. If not, say I would do it sometime throughout the week. I'll try to find a way to do it, to release it in another video or something. All right. I do have a question here from Shauna. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you for being a board member as well. All right. And also moderator and helping out everything you do. The question is, do you know how Matrix New World assigns their team to an area? I don't know specifically, but I do know from Daniel, they often go by themselves. Like I said, the only thing he do is get an assignment from his work computer, tell him, hey, you need to go to this area. I guess they get the mapping to where the area is located. They get a contact. Usually the drilling company is the one that's out there, just like what happened with Daniel this time. Drilling person is out there, representative who drilled that well is out there, and he go meet that person, right? And so that's what he does. But it's by himself. He don't have a coworker that goes with him from his job, and they riding together, that type of stuff. Daniel have been working at night, in the middle of the night, out there in those well sites. I talked to him many times on the phone, so I noticed he had to go to different cities, get a hotel room, and spend the night a lot of places just to go to some of these sites. Like I say, he's all over Arizona, but how you get assignments is always through this work computer, and then it's not a team; it is an individual. From what I understand, I have never known Daniel say, "Hey," and then I have never heard Matrix even tell me themselves that they send workers out as a team. No, they send that worker. That worker goes out alone to these well sites to meet that representative, as well as Weber. As Weber, I don't know how they do it. I just know that often is always like how Daniel is. About, it ended up being one person. I'm thinking, right? Daniel have never said, "Hey, how many people is there?" He just said, "Hey, I'm at this well site. You know, my company sent me to this well site." And I talked to him many times. He waiting on these water level checks or something he be doing. He and I talking on the phone for 2 hours at work while he's at work a lot of times. So he just sitting there waiting, and then he had to go check some water level or something, not other. But other than that, yeah, he's often by himself, as in that worker. I don't know. Well, you know, I'll take that back because I do remember in many conversations, Daniel did mention that he had the other company, and it might not be Weber, it may be some other company, whoever the drilling company is. He do say workers to say, "Oh, I'm just watching these workers do workers." He put plural. So sometimes I think some of the well sites you do go with multiple people. You know what I'm saying? When I think about it, probably wasn't. In most cases, I think it's multiple people, and he's just the only representative from Matrix that comes out there to do his job, and that's it. That's how that works. And so I'm wondering, since this was the first encounter with Ken, what process was to get them connected? Well, you know, according to what I know about his phone and things I got back now from this phone, the initial thing was Daniel, like I said, he get that work assignment through his computer. He also get that information from his worker. They did some things I didn't put on the timeline for you guys, and I can say it now, is that he had several phone calls from Matrix where, you know, his assignment to that second well site. Well, because we obviously supposedly been at that first well site, and he did get Ken's number. We talked to the guys from, I'm not gonna put their name out, but from Matrix. They get the phone number and told him, I guess I'm not to say they told him or not, but that's where he can get in contact with him at the other well site, from an understanding, because that's what it appeared to me. The information is that way. The number is given to him, who he's going to be meeting out there at that well site, that type deal. And that's the only thing I can know. That's the only thing I know. All right, that's what it appears anyway. And so since that was the first encounter in the process of getting to get connected, and that's the way I think, yeah, the way I look at it is how they've been connected. I had to look at it over and over again to make sure it's something I didn't miss, but that's the way I see it for right now. Is that, you know, he get that information from his job, from Matrix, the person's contact information and who he's going to meet. All right, because Daniel did text him, asking him for that location. Hey, you know, this is Daniel, of course, you know, for the location. All right. All right, did anybody have any more questions? Okay, here you go, Shauna. Thanks so much. Please put a question mark, as Shauna have done, for instance, the word question, as well as a big capital letter Q, something where I can see it as I'm coming down. Had Ken worked with any other employee from Matrix prior to Daniel? I'm not sure. I don't know. Also, I'm sure they did, should have, I believe so. The reason why I say that, because later when I did talk to Matrix, it's something else I needed done, and I was going through Matrix to try to get it done. And the first person company they recommended to me was Weber, and I told them I couldn't do that. You know, Weber is the company for my investigation, is a item into my investigation to what happened to my son. So I would not be able to utilize their services for what I was trying to get done at the time. And so they recommend that because they say they use them all the time, use Weber a lot. So so I'm assuming by him saying that, yeah, they definitely utilize Weber a lot for Weber and Matrix work together on a lot of stuff, from what I understand. All right. Also, was your investigator able to ask questions to Weber? You know, I'm going to, a lot of things I would like to say. Probably I'm taking my time with that one, is because some new things that happened recently in the past couple of days. I definitely had to do some things right now in the background when it comes to my former investigator. You know, I'm just going to try to. I won't be able to answer that question right now, Shauna. I'm going to have something that I have to take care of first before I answer that question with this investigator. He's asking the reconstructionist, you know, and I can just put it that way. He's asking the reconstructionist. His expertise is in vehicle or homicide or vehicle accidents. He's good at that. That's what he does. As when it comes to everything else, that's not his title, his job title. If you say, hey, this is not job title, everything else, that's not your job title, that type deal. So I can't say that part up front, but some things that, at the time, reliant on, I'll just deal with that. I'll talk to you guys about that later. But the question is, also was the investigator able to talk to question Weber? I don't know what he did when it comes to that. I don't know what he did. If he did or not, at least I don't know. But as in, should he have talked to Weber? Yeah, there's a lot of things you can get out of Weber. I don't even heard Buckeye even talk to Weber. They don't have that in the report. They might do it now. We're talking about on Q&A. But no, I don't see it in the report where they spoke to nobody. Spoke to Weber to see about, get some information on timeline as well as, what could have possibly happened. And the reason why they're not doing that so deep, you guys, you got to look at it. When I say from the police law enforcement standpoint, you got to look at the whole big thing. As long as they still classify Daniel's case as just a missing person, you look this up yourself. By law, they don't have to do anything because they'll say he's a grown man, like they started off. He want to disappear on his own, he can. We ain't got to do nothing. By law, they don't have to do anything. And then by them doing the minimal, like I told you guys, it may seem like a lot to you guys, but I've done more. It might seem like a lot to you guys. That's a minimum work. So somebody like that officer, that FBI agent who said, oh, they're doing a good job. Some people say, oh, they're doing a good job based on something they wrote on a piece of paper, And so what I'm saying is those are minimal work because it's not an investigation unless it's a criminal type deal. Then some other things will be done, like getting those cell phone pings I asked for at the beginning, getting that information off the Uconnect that they claimed they couldn't get, and it's all zeros and all kind of crazy crap. I mean, everything is inconvenient. They couldn't do. So, it's a criminal case, then they'll change. But right now, no, I haven't seen anything that suggests it probably will in the future. They're gonna have to sell. Yeah, we talked to Weber or something. Just because I'm saying on Q&A, I wouldn't be surprised when y'all come back and say, because you listen to everything I say on the Q&A, eventually changes on the report. They add some supplementary things. Say, oh yeah, we did this on this date, blah blah. Oh, we talked to them. Now you're gonna say something and say we talked to Weber on this date because I'm saying this now on the Q&A. So. Because they watch the Q&A too, and I told you guys before, and they told me they watch the Q&A. So good morning, Buckeye. Good morning, officers, for watching Q. Thank you for coming in. If you have any questions, you feel free to ask these questions. Put the letter Q there, the question mark, and stuff like that, so on and so on. So, but they hear it on the Q&A as well. So definitely, say they didn't answer the questions. They haven't answered any questions to the company or anything because they're not really investigating. It's not a real investigation into my son's case. So, that's why I say a lot of reasons why my son's case needs to be removed and actually get investigated. I'm doing more an investigation than that department. All right. And finding these answers. All right. So guys, don't forget, please, if you're here the first time, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. That's very critical. You guys, you can help me out with that to get Daniel's story out there a lot farther, to be able to help other families as well. I definitely need you guys to do that if you can. And thank you, Shauna, for the questions as well. When you met with Ken, when you met with Matrix, did they provide you with their protocol for monitoring their field geologists? They told us some things, and my auntie, again, same auntie who called and tried to get a Firebird, get a helicopter out, did speak with them on that behalf early on. And they didn't have any, real strong protocols of communication. Like I told you guys, Daniel, he worked did Instacart because those geologists have to pretty much fend for themselves when they go out there. And when I say fend for themselves, they have to provide their own equipment. They have to provide, certain thing, the gas, to blah blah blah, and then they go put in the expense report. And then they get those monies back. But like I said, sometimes I guess it come back too slow. So he had to definitely do what I do. But as in monitoring their field geologists, I think the only thing they have, from what I understood, what I was given by them, is that they had to call in. Daniel, for instance, he'll call in and give some water levels, whatever, every so often about the water. So that's the only thing I think will say, hey, look, he didn't call us about this water thing. why he ain't called, and then they probably call and check on that, and that would give an indication that something going wrong if he didn't call and check, and that's probably where some of that came from. I don't know, but I know he checks sometimes and send in a water report about water levels, and that's what he does. But that's not something, in my opinion, that'd be very, that I would give them, for instance, I think that geotagging type deal somebody spoke about earlier, something that can say, hey, where this worker at is all time, provide them with a company vehicle, whatever the case may be, to make sure they're safe, or send them out in teams. I think that's one thing my aunt was speaking about, why they're going out by themselves. I know they're going to meet other a lot of times meeting other workers out there, but this time it's only one person. And why wasn't there two workers, especially when they're going out in remote parts of the desert and stuff like that. So no, I don't know. They don't have any really good monitoring type thing outside of them calling in to give water reports. All right, so I have a question from PM. Thank you, PM, for your question. On the call law, Daniel's friend Roger seemed sincerely concerned about Daniel. I'm sure he is. That's his friend. Did something happen after he left the first well site that would cause this concern? I don't know. I do not know, but I know he'll be concerned because that's his friend. And the way I take that voicemail myself as I listen to it, he's very concerned about Daniel. And in fact, he said he's more concerned about Daniel he was about the job. The job, in other words, the way I heard him say it, the job's gonna be okay, but are you okay? That type deal. So I kind of take it in a way, in my opinion, this makes say that Roger most likely, of course, was very concerned about Daniel. I mean, he's a friend, and that's one thing, you guys. When I heard the report, for instance, says coworkers said he was acting strange. I don't know who these coworkers, plural, are that Buckeye was referring to, because there were no coworkers that was around Daniel enough to make that kind of assumption or even thought or even talk about, because Daniel's a field geologist. He's always out in the field. He barely comes to the office. He comes to the office, but rarely. And so it's not enough time to say he was acting strange off for days and this and that. He's a field geologist. He don't work in the building. He don't work with other coworkers sitting out there. They looking at each other in the face. But he do hang out with Roger, that's his friend, off from the job. So Roger would have a better understanding what was going on than some of these other people. So I never argue what Roger had to say, because I don't have nothing else to say that he was wrong. It's just that I know my son. I have my own say as well from what I observed. Just talking to my son for since he's been here in Arizona, an hour 2-hour conversation. I had my 2-hour conversations a few days before. I think it was 2 or 3 days before he went missing. So and he was the same Daniel I talk to every time. So but as in this right here, the his concern. Yeah, I don't think I can see him being very concerned by his friend. So, all right, it's something else I wanted to share with you guys, and I think I had a moment here to add that, and now it's gonna slip my mind as I was coming down. But thank you, guys, for coming out for this Q&A and sharing, sharing the time with me, and actually answering your questions, because there's a lot of things that I would like to put out for you guys, and I'm still, like I say, I'm still working on putting those together. I wanted it for this Q&A this morning. Most likely it'll be this evening, where it will be now at this point, but most likely I can get it together to give you some more things about what happened in that timeline. One thing I was working on is the phone record that I want to share with you guys. And the reason why is because you will see that it didn't match the text messages that been put out there. And it is really disturbing to me how immediately, without having phone records, without checking Daniel's phone. I mean, think about it. When they put this thing up from this girl, her text messages, right? Dan hadn't been found yet. His phone wasn't found yet. He wasn't found yet, nothing. And they put this woman's stuff up. And then not only that, they utilized that thing to try to hurt me and my family. Because one thing they did, the first thing they did was a reporter came to me, one of the female reporters. She helps me out a lot, get Daniel's story out. Again, I was pushing really hard, trying to get local coverage so I can get Daniel's name out there. came to me, and I'm not gonna put her name out, but she definitely came out with the Buckeye to get a story. And she called me and said, "Hey, David, met with me or whatever." And she told me the report. That's the first time I've seen the report going out to the public, and from Buckeye. But she had that little section about that girl highlighted in yellow, and I looked at that. I thought she did it. She said, "No, that's how they gave it to me." Right. So, and then that's how the stuff started going out in the public. I told her, to me, I feel like it's a character assassination. Don't look at what we didn't do. Try to point out some negatives about it. And they do that all the time. My son is a victim. He's a victim, but then they try to make this young lady the victim somehow, and utilizing that to make him seem criminal or something. Because even the officer who put that up there in a report, allowed to do it, he telling her that if he come back, pretty much like with the way he talked to me, like he want to arrest my son or something, and that type deal. So, it's really problematic. I can keep going on and on about that, but the thing is, I'm saying is, there's the whole point of how they approach all this stuff. You guys, is very, very hard for me to. I had to deal with that for a whole entire year, holding back a lot of things. I go over myself over and over again. Should I expose certain things to the public, or try to wait to see as another law enforcement agency see all of this and try to step in and do the right thing? But as it stands, for after a year, you guys, like I told you, that blue thing they got going on in law enforcement, to me, my opinion, is a lot stronger than blood. It's a lot stronger than empathy. It's a lot stronger than a lot of things, you guys. And it's sad. It's very sad the way, people put on the uniform and they say, "I serve to protect the community." But then they'll put these bureaucracies and all this other stuff in the way of that and make excuses, right? It's sad to say in this country we have all this technology to go find somebody like Osama bin Laden, who I was fighting against the Taliban, almost lost my life. My battle buddy, well, I can go through the story, but I'm not, because it causes me problems. But the thing is, fighting for this country, and for people who was trying to kill us over there were no questions about it. Officers go out there and wonder if somebody would try to kill them when they go out there. It's a hard job, but we go out the wire. We know they're trying to kill us. They literally every time. So the thing is, for them to be able to find somebody in another country, Osama bin Laden, what's the other guy, Saddam Hussein, they go find out these people in other countries and find out where they're located. They just blew up a man up the other day, standing on his balcony with all the technology we have now. But yet, have all these missing people in this country, and then they'll say they can't find them or don't know how to do it or whatever. In 2022, simple things like asking for video footage of my son leaving ever. I got real funny at the point. Ever leaving his house to go to work, and they couldn't come up with that. Produce nothing. Can't produce cell phone pings and use hiding under cover. If I was to ask a judge, he'll deny it. So they didn't even try. The whole bottom line. The whole bottom line. You connect. So how happened it didn't work. This, you name it. Don't do any forensic work at the scene. So like I said, this whole thing. Or they'll say we don't have the budget or we don't have the money. It's all kind of things. They'll come up with, and you have all these missing loved ones out there, missing people, and these stupid rules that's not even in the rule book. They just come up with some, not even in a policy. I'm sure, I doubt it's in the police policy. Oh, you have to wait 12 hours to report your person missing, or some 24 hours, or some, so on, so on, so on. The report time, for instance, playing games like that with people's lives. That stuff had to change, man. And that's why I'm advocating for those. You guys also don't forget to go on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and sign a petition. I'm still utilizing that petition. Believe it or not, it's growing, still growing. I needed to grow some more, and it's going to be utilized at the right time. So please, y'all guys, if you can help me with that as well, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and put your name on that petition. And that'll really help as well. Again, you guys, you can come this evening on this evening Q&A. I really appreciate you guys if you come out this evening with your questions and things like that. I really appreciate you coming out this morning for this Q&A. But I'll see you then. I don't see no more questions, so I guess I'll see you guys this evening. And I will go ahead and play this other video as well for you guys as well. So love you. Talk to you soon.